Check that out.
What is that?
Whew, I didn't know they made them like that.
I don't even understand what I'm seeing.
Ooh, ooh. I would love to see what's under there.
Hey, welcome back, Paul. Welcome back, Charles.
Thank you.
Hello.
Good day.
Buenos dias.
Congratulations.
Yeah, congratulations, Paul.
Congratulations, Paul, on a
Like
wonderful push to make the playoffs.
a 4-game win streak to end the season, and literally me and Jonathan having a win in your end game to literally end the season couldn't have been written any more sweeter than that.
So I've got a question for you.
Yeah. Hand to God.
I can't ask Jonathan because he also did the same thing.
Okay, I'm listening.
And I did read in chat, if I would have put so-and-so in instead of so-and-so, I would have won.
Correct.
If he gets a so-and-so, then you also get a so-and-so. And both of these so-and-sos are Bears players. What?
I think it's even better when it comes down to that.
What in your damn mind were you thinking?
Me?
Attempting to make a playoff push? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Attempting to make a playoff push and deciding my best option is a Bears player.
Is it my turn?
Yeah, go ahead.
So my thought process going into this game was I was fucked from the beginning.
Yeah.
Because
Understandable.
my luck, it's my luck that somehow on the week that it matters the most, I'm gonna shoot my own foot into this. And
very well. And very much.
I didn't trust most of the tight ends that were left in the waiver wire. Even though Mark Andrews has been underwhelmingly performing all season, he's had his moments, but he had a bye week last week.
# bye week. Yeah.
So all that I had left was Cole Kmet. And in my mind, I'm like, it's Cole Kmet. He's got to at least give me like 5 or 6 points.
Yeah.
Was I ever so wrong? This man gave me a gigantic goose egg.
Yeah. So
and
I mean, just
even with that goose egg,
like Tyler Conklin, you were like, nah, fuck him.
Charles, just say anybody but a Bear.
Noah Gray for Kansas City. Oh, fuck that guy too. 6 points, almost 7.
Same point there.
Hey,
just anybody.
I still won though. Still won.
That's
barely.
That's because he decided to put in DJ Moore.
Hey, he still gave him more than Cole Kmet gave me.
True.
I know.
Very true.
But you're here. He's not.
Hey, clearly I had the gods in my favor. And now he has to live forever in his mind that he lost to a Bears quarterback fantasy league named Caleb Williams. He has to sit with that for the whole year.
I just hope.
I just hope
for a whole year.
4 or 5 times, the thought randomly creeps into his mind.
Fucking
DJ Moore.
This is what Jonathan has to relive for 365 days until this season starts back up next year. One, a Bears player let you down. Yeah. Number one, you got beat by a Bears fan to get into the playoffs, to get knocked out of the playoffs. And then 3, you have to now see in the record books that the Bears quarterback fantasy league name of a rookie quarterback that plays for the Chicago Bears kicked you out of the playoffs on the very last game of the regular season.
So as it stands right now, I'll be playing Bradley because congratulations, Patrick. Me going 2-2 at the end and you having a nice little sprint towards the end. You ended up taking first place. That's fantastic.
12-2, my guy.
I held first place until the very last week.
Well,
so I went from week 4 of last season, or no, week 7 of last season, more or less, until week 12.
Bradley was the only person that didn't change in this whole playoff bracket for the last 2 weeks.
Oh yeah, he was
1, 2, and 4 were.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
So I did. I'll give you guys a little information. I did a little intel, and I crunched the numbers. Charles had the most difficult schedule. Paul and Mike had the second. I was in the middle of the pack. I think I was like 6th or something like that. I would have still made the playoffs, but I would be in Brad's or Paul's position. So I crunched the numbers just because I was like, I know I didn't play. I know I got a couple weeks there where it was like I wouldn't have beaten anybody.
Yeah,
I would have lost no matter who I played except for the person that I played.
Even the kid who can't think scored 126 on me, and my team, after projecting 141, scored like 87, and I'm like, dude, there was some wild thoughts going.
And this is the
head.
crazy thing, Charles.
Like,
you had one too many close games.
Jackson. I'm the Lamar fucking Jackson.
You've had one, two. You've had, let's see, week 1.
Already drafted.
I know. It's poetic justice. Yeah,
you've had at least 6, 7 games that were just that could have gone either way. Your record, literally could be you're the Kansas City Chiefs right now.
The one game where Tennessee decided to run it on 4th and 2, and like basically 4th and goal, but it's 4th and 2. And instead of kicking a field goal because they were already winning, they're like, fuck it, let's run it up the gut with Tony Pollard. He bounces to the outside, scores a touchdown, and I beat Brad by 0.8 points, bro. I'm like, no way that just happened.
You could easily have had 4 or 5 losses this season. Easily.
Yeah. It might not happen this week, but one of the playoff weeks, whether it be Charles, probably not you, Charles, but anybody who has a top tier quarterback, like I have Allen, and anybody that has maybe Mahomes, at some point when they have first place locked up in the AFC,
they're going to bench him.
They're going to bench him. They're not.
And this is the thing. I got Mahomes and Goff.
I'm just so grateful that the Steelers and the Ravens are still battling each other for that, because Lamar's going to play all fucking.
Allen is still technically, they're going for first place because they have the win over Kansas City. They're just hoping Kansas City loses the game and they'll have the.
It's going to be very fucking interesting, especially because the setup is 2 weeks per round.
Yeah.
It definitely is going to be fun to see what the end of the weeks.
Week one, my 2 main people are playing against the Giants, and then Chase.
Your week 1 is to set you up for week 2.
Tennessee, yeah. Well,
I feel bad for the Giants.
As it stands right now, I'm a 20-point favorite on Brad.
Who does
136.4 to 116.6?
Who does Baltimore play next week?
They play the Giants this week.
But who do they play next week?
I don't know. I gotta see.
I'm about to tell you.
All right.
Okay.
If it's Pittsburgh or something, it might not be a good play.
It's against.
But I'm just saying. But this is the thing, though. Playing the Giants first is going to give him probably the biggest gap.
He's playing this week to
give him the cushion for next week.
Sam Darnold plays against Seattle that very same week. So I'm going to have a huge decision on my hands. Lamar Jackson is terrible against the Steelers. But does Sam Darnold give me 35 points again the one game I played him? He's been on my bench, dude. The moment I picked him up, he went.
Did he have like 43 points last week?
What's that?
You don't want to talk about it, do you?
Who?
Did he have 43 points on your bench this past week? Sam Darnold.
No, I had to play. No, I played him. Lamar Jackson.
You did play him. Oh, you did play him.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, never mind.
Disregard.
Well, hey,
I was
Paul,
like,
he played him by default though. But
it wasn't it wasn't an accident. Like I
no choice.
I know that's why I said by default.
What a lucky I have no choice but to play him decision.
I don't care. I thought it was gone. He was just the luck was sleeping. I thought it was gone. I thought I was just going to coast to the playoffs and be one and done.
And he ate.
I
He
might
ate.
make my final push.
But Josh Allen,
Back to
57
back.
points on a loss.
Back to
Yeah.
back. Yeah, that's pretty good.
Josh Allen I don't believe he's going to stop doing what he's doing this season. This is his prove it season. Like, he wants a Super Bowl. He doesn't give a shit about an MVP,
I
about
doubt he cares
anything.
about that MVP.
He wants a Super Bowl.
Hindsight being 2020, I would take Allen over Jackson. But man,
Yeah.
I don't think.
But even
anybody
Lamar
in
is
their
still having a
life-
statistical season
Oh
this
yeah.
year.
Oh
Well,
yeah.
they've both been very
They're
consistent.
both neck and neck. But-
Lamar's definitely playing better statistically than he was last year by miles.
Other than Allen, who on the Bills would you pair with Allen, though? Like, he spreads the ball around so much that it's
So much.
The
Well,
man
I'm
had
sitting-
6 touchdowns, 3 in the air and 3 in the ground. Like nobody, he is the only quarterback to do that in NFL history.
And I think Roethlisberger had 3 and 2. A lot of quarterbacks have had 3 passing
and
and 2
Roethlisberger is
rushing.
nowhere near as mobile as Allen is.
No, not at all.
I'm sorry, Jonathan, that
It's
I had
gonna
to
be
put that kind of
interesting.
work on you.
But I did have to sit Deebo Samuel. I could be almost at 140 points per se.
A lot of these players, had they not gotten injured or had the injury bug during the season, I think this might have played out a little bit different this
Yeah.
season. There's
Way
a lot of
differently.
big,
Brent should have been in the playoffs with the team he had,
yeah. A
and
healthy
the
CMC.
opportunity he had. It's Shanahan's offense. What can you do?
Yeah.
I got all that. It wasn't all glory for me last year either. CMC got me to the playoffs. First round of the playoffs, he was hurt one game or sat one game, played the next, and then he was just out. If it wasn't for CD Lamb, I would have been screwed.
Yeah.
But now I got Jamar Chase, who's
Eating.
chasing me, right? Fuck,
He is
just a
eating.
dream, bro.
And
So
Joe Burrows is playing lights out, but his defense is
Dude,
just not helping him in any way.
You see the fucked up thing? They still only have a 5% chance to make the playoffs.
It's crazy how many teams still have a shot at the playoffs on both sides.
Well, the Bears still do, technically.
Which I don't understand
1%
how.
chance. Well, everybody has to lose.
That's not happening.
Until there's a scenario where every team can't lose, they still have a chance.
But who did get eliminated?
Okay, so
The New York Jets.
you're at a 10-point favorite right now in week 1, Patrick.
I haven't even touched my roster yet, so.
No.
I touched it the next day.
Yeah.
Full disclosure, my rosters have been set for the last 5 weeks. I've not. The one thing I had to change.
Mine constantly has to change.
I had a bye week, 1 week with 2 players, and
once I clinched a playoff spot, it's not that I stopped
pointless.
caring, but
I'm like, if you got a playoff spot, you don't have to do too much adjustment because you're already in. The hard part's done. The hard part is done.
I'm not a dick. Well, I mean, I am a dick.
I'm like, but it's not worried so much of if you only get 3 or 4 points, because at this point you're playing for seeding. But even after that, if you were to get the 4th seed by some fucked up, jacked up reason, you still would have one of the top squads in the playoffs anyway.
And seeding doesn't matter because you have to beat either one of the teams that win. So
correct.
You still have to play both teams, technically.
So right now the scores are 136.4, 139.5, 129.4, 119.5, and then 116.6.
For it being my first year in this league,
I
am proud of myself for the adversity of injuries and stupid fucking players that don't know how to catch balls and shit. And I still make it here.
Yeah. And you did draft 3 Bears players.
And I still made it.
And
I'm here.
I don't care. Here. I don't care who you draft next year, but for God's sakes, please. It's a keeper league. It's going to be a fucking dynasty league. Please don't keep any fucking Bears on your team. Because
it depends. It depends. It depends. It depends. It depends. Listen, you can judge me all you want. I'm drafting. Listen, if Jordan Love is available and I feel like he's going to be a potential, I'm drafting that piece of shit. If Josh Jacobs is in my sights, I'm grabbing that motherfucker.
Charles for that.
There will be like a seasonal free agent budget. I like that.
I think that is the most wonderful thing in the world.
Yep.
We're going to figure this out in the offseason. Yeah.
Also, I want to float the idea, and I hope it works, for a silent auction via draft positions. How
How would that
valuable?
even work?
You put a bid on first place or on the first round draft pick. What do you want to do? 25, 30
Well,
bucks?
see, so on ESPN they have an auction draft, right? And you start off with $200.
No, I'm just saying, listen, in this dynasty realm, your first year's draft position could very well determine the reality of your football team over the next 2 or 3 years.
I'm like, listen, y'all figure that out. I don't know the semantics. I'm not a commissioner in any league.
I doubt it'll stick.
I'm like, you got to make it
we ain't-
interesting,
no,
especially.
there isn't a group of us vacationing on
You want to
vacation
know
every
something that's even
week.
worse?
That would
This
be
thing has a
fucking
little.
awesome.
This has an app that has a widget that has a little pinwheel, and I can put players' names on it. What if we do that for your keeper? We put your entire roster on there from this year, and whatever it
You
lands
can't
on, that's the
drop
player
trader
you
this
get a fucking
motherfucker.
keep.
This has to at least be here till next year.
No,
Tree
no, no.
reserve or not.
No, I was thinking about doing this for the teams that are at the bottom. The teams at the top get to choose.
I think if you come in last place, the league has to. I think you spin the wheel, and whatever it lands on, that's the player you have to keep going into next
That'd be
year.
your fucking kicker. It's your kicker. It's your defense. Your defense.
you
It's on you.
can't say shit about nothing else.
Yeah.
Listen, I as much as I sucked this year on the Sleeper Dynasty League, even though it was my first year, it's definitely different than ESPN. It has its perks, it has its cons,
Yeah.
but overall, it does have its benefits.
It's your third round draft pick. So whatever that pinwheel is,
Oh, you want to do that?
it's your automatic third round draft pick. So if it's a
Alright.
defense, if it's a kicker, if it's something, that's your
all right.
punishment
Yeah.
for
You
being in
gotta
last
get
If you
the
place.
come in
draft
last
position.
place,
If you come in last place, yes, I'm sorry.
if you come in last place, we're automatically
take your
picking what
team.
you have to pick.
We take your team, it's a pinwheel, and whatever that lands on, that's your third round draft pick. It doesn't
And you
matter.
can't say shit about it.
You can't say shit about
We'll
it.
have to get everybody in the. We'll have to get everybody in the room.
Yeah,
if
yeah,
You know how mad that would be if I came in
Oh,
last
no.
place.
No.
Don't suck. Don't
Listen,
suck.
this is what we tell in our league. Listen, if you don't want the bad juju, don't be the worst GM in the league.
Yeah.
It could be worse. We could be making you do like weird punishments and shit.
And
I'm
the other
not
thing
shying
too,
away from that part either.
No, eventually we'll get to that point.
I don't think we're going to shy away from the $20 or $25 a year.
No.
But because it is a keeper league, and it depends on if we do redraft after 3 years or redraft after 4 years.
We'll do that the first year to get everybody that got your feet wet, and then after that, we'll figure out what we're gonna do.
I was going to say, yeah, because you're going to pay for your 3-round seat. Now, if you leave and we give somebody else that, like, they don't pay the 60, they pay whatever that year is plus one.
We'll work that
cover
out.
the seat. Yeah. That way, I think that would be the best bet. Because otherwise, like, halfway through the season and you lose, you're like, oh, it was only $20, and then you can go in and just fuck a bunch of shit up, right? Like,
Or you could do what my guy did
what
on our league
your guy did,
and just drops his whole team. We reversed everything, and so nobody got to keep anybody that they picked up.
And we'll be super gracious about. For example, there's a couple people that went, holy shit, the league's over. Hey, by the way, what did I owe you? Not mentioning any names, right? So
That was me.
Plan or
Listen, it slipped my mind for 14 weeks.
whatever, like, it didn't matter. But anywho,
But no, the reason why we voted on it to revert it, to put his players back, and then if you bid on anything, we gave you the money back. Because in fairness, there was 2 through 7 were fighting for seating position, and when he dropped all his players, it fucked up everything.
Anything would. If you had a top 10, top 15 player, that's gonna that
And
could be
so
the difference between you going from worst to first.
He started throwing a fit because he was like, why would you be mad that I dropped? Because listen, just because you're upset that you got eliminated from the playoffs doesn't mean you just throw a little tantrum. Man the fuck up.
bold move. We'll see if the strategy pays off.
And it didn't. And it didn't pan out. Because
wait, now you ain't playing next year.
Oh, listen, he left the chat because he got everybody started ganging up on him, rightfully. Because again, you're messing up chances for other people that earn their spot in the playoffs. And it's like you, Pat, you're the number 1 seed. And let's say some Mike would have dropped all his players and I picked up 2 or 3 players. And all of a sudden I got a better squad than you because I picked up 2 or 3 out of his players that he dropped. That's not fair for Pat because his waiver wire is at the bottom and I'm higher, so there's a good
No,
chance that I'm going to pick up better players.
I played in leagues before where people have done that, and it's pretty shitty, and we just let it fly for a while.
Nah, but so he left the chat, and
Those were
we're
free
probably
league though. Those weren't pay leagues. Those are
this
free
is
leagues
pay
where you
league.
do
This
that,
is
yeah.
there's money on the line.
Yeah, when
and
there's a pay league and they do that, that's bullshit. Yeah.
And so we're gonna discuss to see if he's gonna be in the league next year, because I'm like, you can't. This is a pay. We're paying.
There's gonna be a discussion about it.
Huh?
Oh,
There's gonna be a discussion about it.
I'm like,
yeah, I don't
it's
even.
pretty.
I don't wanna hear
It's
this.
pretty much
Charles, I know where
already
you're going
set in
with this. I know
stone.
what you're thinking.
Because
We
listen,
wanna
he
hear
already
it.
left the group chat already.
Yeah, I was like,
So I'm like, in my mind, you leave the group chat. That's you telling me you're fucking done.
well,
Paul,
not only that, but if let's say I did that and I left the chat, and then a couple weeks later,
You can't come back.
or someone messaged me and they were like, "Hey, we all talked about it, and we felt like it would be best if we offered you one more chance." I'd be
There's
like,
no one
"All
more
right,
chance.
yeah." No, I'm saying if listen to me,
No.
listen to me.
So there's 12 people in this league. You take him out. There's 11 people out of him.
Yeah,
6 of them are already saying, if he comes back, I'm out. And I'm not about to lose 6 people in the league over one little crybaby.
Oh yeah, so the vote will go over well. It's
he's gone. It's formality at this point.
I was just saying, because I'm telling you, if I got that message and someone was like, "Hey, we're going to give you another shot," I'd be like, "Oh, all right, bet." Halfway through the season, I'm
do it again.
That's that thing I could possibly think of.
Yeah, it's a formality at this point, but
this is a you guys thing.
Yeah, no. And this is the thing. This is not his first time doing something crazy like this.
Oh, so
it's like, what does it say? First, fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, shame on you're not gonna fool me a third time.
Yeah, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Fool me thrice. Now I gotta pee.
All right, boys. Enough. Great segue. Talking about players and people who might not be in the league next year. The New York Giants had 2 of the craziest fucking things happen this past week.
What the hell happened outside of the plane incident?
So there's 2 incidents. There was an airplane that flew a flag over the stadium, basically telling him to watch this dumpster fire that is a team. Week Neighbors was asked about it, and his comment was, "I didn't pay for the plane." So without acknowledging guilt.
So are you saying you had something to do with the flag?
Somebody had something to do with it. Might not have been him.
He chipped in on the saying, on the banner.
Correct.
That was a wild situation that happened right there. And for that to be a question in their post-game interview, I was like, "Hey, did you see this fly over the game today?" "I didn't pay for the plane." "So what are you saying?"
I didn't pay for it. And the second thing that happened, Ava Louise, OnlyFans star, apparently got tickets from a player on the Giants to go to the game. 2 flash people. And guess what? Tagged herself. Did my part. Fan-fucking-tastic. Now talk about a player that possibly could be getting booted off the team or maybe even kicked out of the NFL, because I do assume that there are children in the stands at some point somewhere. And
she's never going to a Giants game, or any game for that matter.
Apparently she's been turning this into some kind of content for her. It's entirely possible that this is just made up by her. She did the whole thing to publicize and get more people to go to her OnlyFans page, but to each
Giants
their own.
still lost.
Yeah, the Giants still lost. So it didn't work. So
those New Jersey teams suck.
I'm surprised there wasn't a bunch of old dudes with cameras behind her taking pictures of her tig-o bitties.
Everyone in that photo was married.
And looking straight. They were all looking straight.
Yeah. Fuck this. Not today.
You're not going to catch me slipping.
Not today.
You're not catching me live on camera.
Listen, I'd rather watch my Giants suck than go home and be like, "Sweetheart, is this you?
This is terrorist activity right here. Not today, ISIS.
Not going to catch me slipping."
No.
That was wild. The fact even a thing.
It's New York. It wasn't the first time they saw titties at a game, too, probably.
But the fact that's the most talked about thing right now outside of football.
In New York, yeah.
Technically New Jersey.
Yeah.
So here's how I have a hard time I actually agree with you, Patrick, when you were saying this could have just been a little spoof thing to
It
gain
could have been.
traffic
It could have.
marketing.
Because I don't see I didn't see the team even address it. Why would you?
No.
Honestly,
Well,
um,
but
until
my
it's been
reasoning for
investigated.
this too, right, is, oh, green 18. I've literally dodged every effing distraction my entire life to get here. Green 18. Oh, titties.
And then you think that's going to take you out of your element? What do
You
you think
think
he's
that's
going to get
gonna
a false
take you out
start
of
or?
your did you not play college football or high school football or
And listen, if you can see that all the way over there, I'm not saying that you got like the greatest division. You know what I'm saying?
no.
But that's like some laser focused attention that took you out of the game.
And there are larger titties every week at Lambeau, Kansas City, Buffalo.
Las
There's
Vegas.
just big hairy fucking titties
And
coming
I'd-
from the fucking guys that are out there with their shirts off all the time.
And that can't distract you, but these can.
But those will get the fuck out of here.
And
Who
this is the
fuck
thing,
do
you got
think
hairy
you
titties, and it's
are?
not just one hairy set of titties. There's 6 of them in a group.
They've been playing their whole life screaming in a crowd, and you think these
Buffalo.
titties?
How many titties do you see in Buffalo?
When I tell you something, let me walk you through the only scenario in my mind right now that this would have worked is
Yeah.
if the fucking center was fucking Billy Bob from Varsity Blues and he fucking just came off a bender from overnight at the titty club and he goes, "Hey, Miss Jackson, titties," and then and then it's a false start. That's the only fucking way. That's the only
Well,
way.
that or Cadavius Tony probably
There's-
work on him, right?
There's
Yeah,
no
Canadian
way
Tony, I mean,
any of them
anything would've worked
quarterbacks
on him.
was
Like you said,
distracted.
a dude with hairy nipples
Just-
probably would have distracted him.
Like, what? All the opposing crowd tries to do the entire fucking game
Is yell
is
obscenities.
distract the other
Distract
The
the other
team.
shit
team.
that they call them, and you think a pair of nipples is gonna distract them?
No,
Just
whose nipples?
weird tiny old titties.
Unless you got maybe if you
outta
got
here.
weird nipples or weird titties, like a third titty, that might get some attention.
Now, if you would have had a third titty,
Yeah,
then that's
third
when
titty might
the
get some
distractor. You're like, what is that?
Yeah.
But
Not
just
even the camera guy. The camera guy shows you more people getting frostbite than he does
Even he was like, "Yep, there's a titty."
the Santa Claus guy.
I'm assuming that photo too is in such a great position. The person probably came to the game with her.
I have no
The
doubt
way
in
that
my
the
mind.
way that was shot seems like
Oh,
it.
everyone there's seen it before. It's New York.
And I'm pretty sure
People
I
pissing
could
in the
probably
streets
put
and
I
titties,
could
I
put
see it all the time.
$15 on this. That where it has the censored, she still has a bra on. Because there's no fucking way she was there for the whole game after she showed skin. There's no way.
I believe she was escorted out. I don't know. It's hard to say because there's never been any official statement. The only thing people want to do is flock to her OnlyFans page, which is fine. You've never seen a pair
I'm
of
not
titties before.
paying any money
That's
to
for
see
you.
titties when I can just go into my room.
Exactly. If you're an adult, Paul, you don't pay for titties anyway. So unless you're that
I mean,
poor sad man that likes to be in diapers
well,
and punished.
These people do eat a significant amount of ass and Tide Pods.
Yeah, it's true.
Oh,
It's true.
Technically, I do
really-
pay for titties because it's my wife.
You buy
But,
groceries and shit, right?
You know, I
Yeah.
feed her, I clothe her, she feeds me.
All right,
she
Paul. We
clothes
don't
me.
we don't want to start going down this rabbit hole because I have a feeling that this might be a bad conversation. for us to have.
Let me
Hey, My wife takes care of me, and I take care of her
There you go. You get to play with titties for free.
for free.
All right.
Fur.
Speaking of titties, it's entirely possible there that a football player not a football player, a football coach. Paul, you and I were talking about this off the air. Speaking of young titties, Bill Belichick with his young girlfriend, it seems that he
There's
might
no
possibly possibly be thinking about coaching the new with the North Carolina
here's
Tar
the
Heels
thing.
football squad.
Yeah, here's the thing. Yesterday,
How-
they had a 5-hour conversation
Yeah, that's
after a few days of communication. You don't sit in a room with somebody for 5 hours and then go, yeah, no, we're going somewhere else.
yeah.
You find that out in the first hour or two.
I'm
He put
just
his
trying
cards
to
on the table
picture
for sure.
those recruitment sit downs with kids and parents with him. Like I can only his monitor. So I know you want to play somewhere else, but this is where you need to be. I can get you into the NFL. That I promise. Like that
Well,
conversation is just
it
I
doesn't
don't think
matter
he's
how
gonna
fun
have to
Tony
hire
is.
somebody to recruit because he's
What
gonna
if I
tell
told
kids
you?
you don't deserve the money. You're gonna be like, fuck your NIL.
What,
That's what he's gonna say.
what if I told you that BYU is now like the number 5 basketball school in the country, on pace to be the number 1? BYU.
I can tell you that it's because the Mormons are paying for it. The church.
Well, I'll tell you what. Regardless of who's paying for it, do you know why this is?
They're in the Big 12 now.
Their entire coaching staff is former NBA players and coaches. What's the fastest way to learn how to play in the NBA?
Former players and coaches. I'm not
Why not?
debating.
Why
I'm not
go
debating
coach?
his
Why not go get
plug.
coached by somebody who's been there? Well, so why not, dude? North Carolina, the way I'm looking at it, my kid's playing football. I'm probably going to send it to the guy who's won 6 fucking Super Bowls.
Now this is the crazy thing,
and all he's got to worry about is coaching.
and this is
Well,
the crazy
it's
thing.
never
He's
equated
going
very
to a
well, NFL
conference
to college.
that's weak in the ACC. So
Well, they'll be fine. North Carolina, I believe their offensive coordinator went to Wisconsin and he found out Big Ten bully ball doesn't fucking work out very well when he tried to do finesse. I don't think it's gonna pan out for him, but good for him.
Yeah,
it's going to be
I think
interesting to
will.
see.
I think
It'll
it
be
will.
definitely interesting to see just because his style of his character, his personality, to see how it fits with college players versus professional players. I'm like, the only thing that I can envision is Nick Saban. Like he tried pro ball, it didn't work out, but he was able to succeed in college. So I want to see, is he going to be that type of player? Like, coach, yes, I can. Well, I'm like, you succeeded to an extent in pro ball because once you lost your quarterback, it just went all to shit.
Everybody goes to shit when they lose their quarterback.
Right. Now you're playing with
unless you're the Pittsburgh Steelers, you get fired when you lose your quarterback.
That's
but
true.
not Mike Tomlin. You just got to win.
That's what I'm saying. Unless you're the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Just win. Just win everybody.
So let me paint this picture for you. I'm Bill Belichick. I'm going to come coach for North Carolina. All right, that's cool. I'm not fucking recruiting. I'm coaching. So we're going to build a staff to recruit. And you're recruiting for me. So if I have to come do a visit, I'll do a visit, but I'm not recruiting. That's plain and simple. That's easy peasy. I'm Bill Belichick. Mr. Luck was just hired at Stanford as a general manager to deal with all that other bullshit. Bill Belichick, North Carolina is going to be hiring somebody. There is going to be a big name, and they're going to show up because Bill Belichick was there. And now you're going to have this guy as a GM at North Carolina. All Bill has to do is coach. It might be arguably the only place in this world today that somebody like him can go and just coach.
But he don't have that many years to do it. He's old.
Whatever.
I'm like,
he's gonna build.
Listen,
He'll build something.
His number might be up there, yes, but we both know that he was walking. Out that Ring camera doorbell. We all seen it. There was a lot of life left in that man.
That's because he just got fucking laid. Yeah, there's gonna be a lot of life left.
He's got a lot of energy to go.
A lot of energy
there. A lot of money.
He
can get laid whenever he wants.
Well,
if that's the key to longevity, I think he's going to be.
Do you think he can turn North Carolina into a 9-10 win season?
Not in the first season, but
I'm not saying first season. Can he get them to like a 9-10 win team?
I believe they'll start competing with the ACC within a couple of years. Yeah, I think easily.
I think
they're going to get players, like Charles said.
Will he outshine popularity from Deion Sanders?
Anything he wants, that school is going to give him. If they're going to give him the contract, they're giving him the keys of the Ferrari. They're giving him everything. Charles said. Absolutely.
Listen, if I'm a college that's hiring Bill Belichick,
it won't be a question, especially with
I'm almost certain if UNC, if this is true, and it's not just a speculation rumor,
give him like $20 million himself.
UNC is going to give that man the keys to the whole program and say, hey, just tell me what you want.
That's what I'm saying. It might very well be the only place in the country Bill Belichick can just coach.
UNC or just
college? You don't got to worry about an owner. You don't got to worry about an owner.
That part right there. The kids are still getting paid.
his legacy is going to pull recruits in. Bro, the reason I told you guys about BYU is because it's BYU.
I
and
would
yet
get 6
because-
replica Super Bowl trophies just in the background of my office and just be like, you want to get
Can you
want one of those?
imagine the players and personnel he's going to have to come in to talk to these young athletes?
Pull
The
former players that
position-
he's coached and
the
have them.
position you can put your child in just by simply being in that organization. And if it doesn't work out, you could transfer out of there because it's NIL.
You can transfer every year if you wanted to.
I'd be fucking shocked if he doesn't have it turned around next season.
And he might pull a Dion too, where he
It
might
might be
live
pre-
off.
it might
He
be
might
tough
live
for
off the
Dion.
Because
portal
of
though.
the signed letters
Well,
already.
no, I think more because it's just a little too late in the recruiting process to turn it around.
Yeah, that's what I meant. The signed letters.
But
are
I'm
Yeah.
like, even though
But the
he
next
might
2
pull like
years,
a,
he'll have a top 10,
Huh.
top 15 recruiting class.
and this is
Guaranteed.
the thing, he might even pull a Dion where most of his push might be coming out of the transfer portal, and where he does
Well, he's
his
going to hit
magic.
that if he becomes the coach. He's hitting that shit hard.
That's what I'm saying. Like Charles
No,
said,
I mean,
he'll
if
hire
people
a
are gonna-
team to do the actual recruitment, and Belichick himself will focus on the transfer portal itself.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Here's the kicker: you grab a transfer portal for offensive linemen and defensive linemen, and you have a chance. Regardless, you have a chance.
And you don't need a 5-star. You can get a 3-star, maybe a 4-star, and you could build something
Harbaugh
crazy.
took 3 stars and made them 5 stars.
There's
Belichick
plenty
and-
of quarterbacks that are 3 and 4-star quarterbacks. I believe Tulane's quarterback he just entered the transfer portal.
Josh
He's
Allen wasn't
he's a
even
top 5
he didn't have any
quarterback in the
stars.
NCAA this year. Like,
And look at Josh Allen now. He didn't have no D1
Jordan
recruitment.
loves
nothing.
this. Jordan loves the same way.
Them stars sometimes don't mean shit.
Yeah. Oh no,
no,
I
it's
agree.
coaching is
probably
90% of it. 10%
with painting
talent.
that picture for you guys. I don't think it's that unrealistic. I think that this is.
I think it's just wild to say out loud that
And-
Bill
but
Belichick going to
this
college.
might be the new norm.
I'm like,
NFL.
and he said he wanted to coach next year. He said it
you do-
himself. He
I don't
wanted
think
to
it'll be a
coach.
new norm. I don't think coaches are just going to jump at the chance to go from
Well,
being a Hall of Fame and NFL coach to being an NCAA coach. That maybe
I
the other
agree
way
with
Maybe
you
you don't
there.
have any other
No,
options.
no.
Yeah,
I agree
but-
with you there. But when it's time to retire, where do you go retire? Because these people love what they do. They've been doing
Belichick
it
has
their whole
nothing
life.
to
I
lose.
think
He has
what
nothing
Charles
to
is
lose.
getting at is it does, like, he brings North Carolina football to heights that it's never been. Like, they make the
Right.
college football playoff. What if they make a national championship? Hell, what if they win one? His legacy is absolutely cemented. And if he at 74 years old says, I'm going to retire, they're going to be like, oh, please, Bill, stay. And he'll be like, no, I'm good. And then they'll just buy him out.
But
But he has nothing to lose at this point, though, either.
well,
though.
that's for Bill specifically. But what I was trying to get at with the new norm was I've had a successful NFL career. The noise is getting louder on the door. I still got a lot of coaching left in me. I'm going to go ahead to the college game. I'm going to go ahead to my alma mater. I'm going to go because of this NIL thing.
Why not?
It isn't unrealistic. I'm fucking Sean Marion High School or whatever the hell it is. Fuck it.
Because, like, when you think about it, if he's able to pull off a national championship at UNC within
Even
let's
if-
just say
even
within
playoff
5
run.
years,
Yeah.
and even if he doesn't win it, but just shows up to an actual national championship game, goes to the playoffs and ends up in the Natty,
Hell, wins the
Win or lose win or lose.
playoffs.
you
Nuts.
can't tell Bill Belichick shit.
You think Robert Kraft isn't going to be pushing a little NIL funding towards North Carolina?
I don't know about that. I don't.
I'm
did
like,
they-
it's legal.
did they have a great.
Do you know how Michigan got? We all know how Michigan got Bryce, right?
That
We
good
know the
old
story?
money. That booster money.
It was. All right. Let me paint this picture for you. Dave Portnoy goes, I don't want anybody's help, but we're going to get this quarterback, and I'll fund everything I need to. And somebody called him and went, hey, you got to go talk to this lady.
Yeah, it was
He's
the
like-
guy's girlfriend,
He's like,
the
what?
second richest person in the world or some shit.
It-
Yeah,
It's his wife.
yeah,
She went to Michigan, loves Michigan. He went to Illinois or some shit like that.
yeah.
Has
And
nothing
he-
to do with Michigan.
No, Hawk tour. Suck that dick and give you that money and pay that NIL. Yeah, that's how they got Bryce Underwood. Congratulations. I love Michigan, but it's a great story. But it's like, Yeah,
What do you think other people are doing, bro?
no, I understand. I understand that's where the money's
How
coming
the
from.
fuck
I
do you
just
think that? That's why I just said Robert Kraft. All right, all right, all right.
no,
I don't mean
I'm just explaining it to people who don't understand that that's where the money came from.
from my understanding, this lady did no dick sucking other than her
No,
husband.
that's what I said. He's because she's Haktua, he gets to
Yeah.
that's where the money's coming from.
Hey, you do what
He
you
has
gotta
no
do.
affiliation with Michigan whatsoever. He's just trying to make her happy.
Well, it worked.
I'm just shocked. I seriously thought that was fucking awesome.
It's 100% awesome. It's just
I
I
don't
was
do
just
that. All right, all right. I'm
it was just a little comic relief. That's all. It's just,
You puked in your mouth there, bro. You had me throw back in my chair.
no, it's
You're like, I'm a
comedy
Michigan
purposes.
fan, but how we got this guy who's fucked up? What do you mean?
I didn't say fucked up. I said it. I said
I know that's how I
No,
read
it's
it,
just
and I was
The
way
initial
wrong.
perception.
Yeah,
Yes, that's why I fell back in my chair. Like, what?
I mean,
we,
it
we
could be
don't want this
worse.
guy.
What? We don't want the #1 guy in the fucking country.
No,
Not
no,
just
no,
that,
in
the fact that you got him to flip.
But it's just
not
it
only
was
him,
her
there's
and Dave
other
on a
players.
fucking Skype call.
Yeah.
The reason we're telling this story is again that it's not unrealistic for Bill Belichick to come into today's college game and have instant success. That's why I feel.
Look what Deion Sanders did with Travis Hunter. Flipped him from Florida State to Jackson State, the number one player in the country, and followed him to Colorado.
Win a Heisman because of it. Just is everyone going to win a Heisman? No.
But let's be honest. It's fucking Deion Sanders.
But I'm just saying, though,
follow him if you went to freaking.
But it's just the fact that you're able to flip the number one player in the country at that time from a Florida State that's at that time was a Power 5 conference to go to an HBCU school.
Yeah. Are you forgetting about the $4 million, though, that they paid him?
That's fine. That's great. But
nobody else was going to be able to give him that much. They gave him all their NIL money.
It's one thing to flip from LSU to Michigan. You know what I'm saying? You're still staying in the D1 power school situation.
I know what you're saying. It doesn't matter.
If Deion can flip the number one player in the country at that time as a freshman, a committed freshman to Florida State, to go to a HBCU, I can almost believe that Bill Belichick could do some fucking magic as well.
Why not?
And this is the thing, Bill Belichick has six different reasons why he can make you flip.
Imagine having somebody like Wes Welker coming in teaching your wide receiver route running.
Or even Gronk.
You don't have Rob Gronk.
No, I'm just saying you can come as a seminar. Even if you wanted to get Tom Brady to come in there every now and then.
As a recruiting official, yeah, Tom Brady might do Michigan.
No, Brady won't. He won't do that.
No, I'm just saying, but you have a plethora of former players that
you're adding to my fire. I agree with you already.
I'm like,
dude,
you're hyping yourself up maybe a little too much over this. Like, it's never really been successful for somebody at his age that's tried to do it. So if he is, he might set the mold.
It's a much different game today than it was yesterday, though. You can't just go out and buy your team and have something be Instapot. You can literally do that today.
Yeah, you can and you can't. They have to get everybody on board.
I hear you, but it's the fact that now
it's not going to happen overnight. But like you said, next year, a full season of this, absolutely.
We found out Bill in North Carolina was talking like Friday or Saturday last week, and Tuesday today he's hired at North Carolina. It will happen that fast. It does happen that fast. It's the kid Michigan just took. Up until the exact hour of darkness, it was LSU. Even listening to LSU podcast and radio studios, like they're just losing their mind over this. Yeah, but that's today's college world.
I don't know. It's just hard for. I've heard so many coaches say that, especially Nick Saban and those guys say that when you get to a certain age, it's hard to get along with the players when they're that age, 18-year-olds. And it's a culture thing. And let's be honest, if you're 70 years old, do you think you're going to have that same Bill Belichick's going to demand adults out of these kids. He's not going to demand teenagers, and they're teenagers.
What do you think Nick Saban's been doing?
I agree with you about their age, but at the same time, this isn't just kids you're picking a dodgeball team for. These are kids trying to get into the NFL. And if they want to be in the NFL, they're going to do what they're supposed to do. In fact, it's going to be a hell of a lot easier than dealing with 19 to 32-year-old millionaires.
The problem is you are dealing with millionaires now with the NIL. You're not dealing with college athletes anymore. You're dealing with semi-professional athletes.
You're not wrong. but they're still trying to get to the show.
Not all of them. Some of them just want the money. Let's be honest. There's a few. There's a few of them. I'm not gonna name names because obviously, and you could just. It's speculation, but yeah, there's a lot of players I believe that just are in it for the money, and good for them if it changes their life and their families' lives. It's just, but I don't think it's going to be as easy for Bill because of his age. But I do believe that they are gonna. I believe they probably will make a playoff, for sure. I just don't think they're going to be this dominant force because they still got to go through Clemson. The ACC still got Miami. Miami's going to be spending money like crazy. So is Clemson. Clemson already said we're dipping into the NAL. We're going to have to at some point. It's not going to be that easy in the ACC.
I see it differently. Obviously, time will tell. For one, it's the ACC. I think if I had the choice to go be coached by Bill Norvell or Bill Belichick, I'm gonna go to Bill.
Then I got to ask you, why didn't he get an NFL job then?
We're talking about two different scenarios here.
How is it different? He didn't get a coaching job in the NFL. Nobody wanted him. But he's good.
But
Now
there's
he's good for
also
college.
there's
I'm
limited
not
coaching.
not you, Charles, but I'm just saying.
No, I know you're not.
In
Listen, this is radio, bro. I get
No,
it.
in perspective, why do you think that he's good for college, but he's not good for being an NFL coach?
Publicity.
But
I mean, at the beginning of this would probably be my best explanation. I would love to send my child to somebody who's won 6 Super Bowls, who's been there.
It's a good PR move. It's definitely a good PR move.
A foundation for my child to give him the absolute best platform to
Why
achieve
do
his dream.
most of those players go to Alabama when Nick Saban was coaching? It was one of the for sure pipelines to the NFL to get drafted within the first 2 rounds. Am I right or am I wrong?
No.
There's certain coaches when you see them in college, you're like, this is a quick way to get to the NFL.
You also saw it like when Nick left, right? Like when Nick left, there was an exodus from Alabama. Those were people that were literally there just for Nick.
And as he was gone, I'm like, there goes my pipeline. I got to go find another one.
If he wins a national championship, he's going to join only 2 coaches to ever win both. Barry Switzer and Jimmy Johnson.
Soon to be also Jim Harbaugh.
You think Harbaugh's going to win a NFL championship?
Oh, yeah.
Eventually, yeah.
Yes, eventually, yes. No, indubitably. Now here's the kicker. I do not think, it's not that I don't think, but I would be absolutely shocked if Bill Belichick takes a team to the fucking national championship next year. But it is not out of the realm of possibilities when we have a team like Arizona State and SMU in the playoffs over a team like Alabama.
He can definitely make the playoffs.
All right, let's break down the
first round bye.
Let's break down the playoffs. Let's break down the playoffs.
If you win the ACC, you're in.
Here's the thing. They did exactly what you said they shouldn't do. They kicked Alabama out, and they said none of these teams that in their position are going to lose their position. They absolutely backdoored themselves out of this, and they set precedent for moving forward. These players are not going to want to play the championship games if they freaking think that they're going to lose their position. There's been a lot of them saying it.
Alabama didn't play at all.
Exactly. Yeah. They said they weren't supposed to move. Teams that weren't playing aren't supposed to be punished because they didn't play in the championship game. That's exactly what they said.
How can you not punish those teams, but also not punish the teams that made it to the championship game?
But they punished teams that lost the championship game too. I believe they moved. Yes, they lost position.
Well, they lost positioning, but they still made it into the playoffs. In the playoffs. Are you saying that these teams that made it to the championship game and lost should have lost their spot to Alabama, who didn't even make it to a championship game and already had 3 losses?
No, but we can take a team like Ohio State didn't move at all. But there was movement above them, but they didn't move. But Alabama got moved up. I'm just saying they did things that they said they weren't going to do. They said that it shouldn't change. The top 4 or 5 could have flip-flopped around because there was big names up there. Yeah, granted, Arizona State, but let's be honest. Some of these teams, their schedules are absolutely fucking terrible.
I thought Alabama was only in there to be the first one out.
They were the only in the top 12 that didn't make it into. Because Miami was 13, I believe, going into this ranking.
And not only that, I'm thinking the ACC championship game had a lot to do with it. Had SMU won, Clemson wouldn't be in, and Alabama
probably would have been in.
And I think if Arizona State had lost, and they probably wouldn't have been in either because they were 15th ranked.
Alabama not lost to fucking Vanderbilt, they'd probably be in the
Yes,
playoff.
there's a lot
Or
of
get blown out by Oklahoma.
Yeah. All right, let's just break it down. I think that SMU has a legitimate shot of beating Penn State. I don't know about you, Charles, Paul.
Oh, yeah, I go, fuck yeah, of
feelings?
course.
I'm like,
Yeah,
everybody's
well,
eligible to
frankly.
win.
I just feel like this team.
And then, and not just that, we've all seen it for the last 3 to 4 years when it comes to Franklin in those big games. He can't find a way to the other side.
Oh, Charles, what is he? Is he 0 or has he got one win? I think he's 1 in 15.
He struggles in the line, and they're probably going to look past SMU, and that's the problem when it comes to these big schools that look at these smaller schools like SMU, even though it's their first year in the ACC, they're looking at them like this is their first year in the big leagues. They don't know what they're doing. And when you look past these kind of teams, that's when you shoot yourself in the foot. I'm not saying that SMU is just going to destroy Penn State, but you can't look past them.
Oh, I have them upsetting Penn State.
You know what I'm saying?
I think they have them beating them by 2 points or something. Not covering the spread.
So, something I would like to talk about, and I think will to be definitively changed. And there was a point made today that I would like to bring to y'all and the listeners. We weren't even supposed to have this yet. So this wasn't supposed to be here until 2026. So this is like a 2-year trial balloon. What we see today, I highly doubt will be what we see tomorrow. And the reasoning for this is as such. Tell me a first seed team in a playoff format that has ever been given a card such as the one Oregon has.
Oh, they got screwed.
The fact that
they have the worst path to the national championship game.
No matter what, they're either playing Tennessee or Ohio State next.
But that's because of the teams.
But
they
this
lost
is
2 games each. What are you going to do?
Thing, though. In my opinion, I'm thinking if I'm the number 1 seed, regardless of what you think of me as
playing Arizona State,
I need to have the easiest path to the title game because
I
fucking earned it.
You mean to tell me that SMU or Penn State is going to be playing Arizona State next?
When I tell you,
I love all the seeding, though. Correct.
Listen, I love.
So that's it's going to be changed.
No.
It's going to be changed.
Gotta be.
Georgia has the easiest path to the national championship game.
Yeah, but they don't have a quarterback.
It doesn't fucking matter. They have the easiest path.
Doesn't matter. Paul, they lost both quarterbacks. They got.
Trust me. Ain't nobody more happy. Is nobody more happy than me?
They don't even have a fucking elbow anymore.
I'm still wondering how the entire world.
Nobody's more happier than me.
Oh, I'm sure.
I'm not saying that Texas has an easy path.
Yeah.
I'm not saying Texas has an easy path, but I like their path. It's very plausible for a national title. Not to win it, but at least to get to the title game.
The fact that Ohio State thinks Tennessee is going to be a fucking walk game for them is
I don't understand.
That's one of the best offenses in the fucking country.
That quarterback is underrated.
The one thing I enjoy the absolute most about all of this that's happening is that I truly believe in order to keep his job, Ryan Day has to beat Tennessee, then Oregon, then Georgia on their way to a national championship.
Not happening.
It's Georgia or Texas. This dude's
if he makes it past the first round, it's a miracle.
The only way they make it past the first round is with help from the officials, because I tell you what, Tennessee can run the ball, and they can run it better than Michigan can. And Tennessee has a top 10 scoring defense, a top 10 offense. They're going to be able to move the ball just like Oregon did.
Oh, yeah.
And again, and I'm pretty sure Ohio State is looking
Tennessee's
past
better than
Tennessee,
Penn State, let's be honest,
thinking that they can run all over them. And I'm like, all right, y'all keep doing this. And these big teams think they can run past these teams. And I'm like, all right, Tennessee's going to smack y'all in the mouth.
Michigan gave every team in the tournament and the MO how to beat Ohio State. Take the run game away and make them one-dimensional.
Lost my train of thought. Yeah, I agree with you. Indubitably.
Arguably, Ryan Day had the biggest brain fart of his career against Michigan. Hadn't just thrown the ball down the field, they wouldn't have been able to stop him. And if he tries that against a team that actually has DBs that aren't hurt and third stringers, he's probably going to get ball picked off. Let's be honest. Charles and I have been on this train the entire season. Will Howard is a fucking terrible quarterback.
Listen, in NCAA college football, the game. He
You
is
play
garbage.
Will Howard? Yeah, I believe he had
Garbage.
23 picks when I was playing him.
So I'm pretty sure Patrick will know this, so don't answer unless you don't, then say, no, I don't know. But and maybe PR remembers, but where did Will Howard play before Ohio State?
It's in the Big 12, Paul.
Didn't he play? He didn't play for us. There's no
No.
fucking way. Did he
No.
play Kansas State?
Yes.
There it
Yes,
is.
yeah.
Yeah. Man, for somebody that really lit up the scoreboard, it took you a minute to find where he played before Ohio State, huh?
Because nobody gives a shit about him.
He didn't light up the scoreboard at Kansas State. In fact,
like Paul was
he
saying.
won the starting job by default.
Fuck you, Will Howard.
Yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate him.
Yeah. They can keep Ryan Day too. They keep Will Howard and Ryan Day.
The moment I said that I was happy about it, I became sad because I realized I'm like, this dude ain't keeping his job.
No, he's
best
not.
He's one of the best things to happen to Michigan.
But the funniest thing is that all three of those guys, the offensive coordinator, the defensive coordinator, and the coach are all going to be gone after this year. Guaranteed.
Chip Kelly is your OC.
Chip
That
Kelly
tells
is
you
a
everything.
fucking terrible.
That tells you everything. That tells you everything.
A monkey with a clipboard pointing at plays and telling the backup quarterback to call the play would have did better against Michigan than the OC Chip Kelly did. Let's be honest. He probably would have.
I really hope.
Throwing the ball. You know
really
what I mean?
hope they make Chip Kelly the next head coach.
Oh, that would be beautiful for you guys.
Oh, it'd be fantastic.
Just give me the next 3 years. Just give me the next 3 years.
4 more years of tears.
He'll get a bunch of 4-star players that weigh about $165 that can fly down the field, but then when they get hit, they freaking fall like a ton of bricks.
And you know what would be freaking hilarious if that was the case, right? Let's say for some weird reason they give Chip Kelly the head coaching job and replace Day, right?
Give up the key?
How fucking hilarious would it be that not only for the next 4 years you're going to lose to Michigan, but then you're going to lose the next 4 years to Oregon, your former team.
It's entirely possible
in the same conference
on their bench that he enters the transfer portal at Ohio State because they brought in the number 2 quarterback in the country. Like, you brought in a top 5 quarterback last year, and then you, in desperation, because Michigan freaking had the number 1 player coming in, you decided that you're going to throw all your NIL money at some other guy. Like, it's just
and you started the season talking so much shit, talking about you got all this money to build the best team, and you still can't beat Michigan.
It would be so poetic.
Did you hear? All right, I forget who the ESPN analyst was. Shout out ESPN, even though Charles, whatever. Anyway, he brought it up. He goes, Will Howard, I don't care what Ohio State does. He goes, that guy is not going to win you a national championship because he fucking throws the ball away, and he throws it in the dirt, or he throws it over a guy's head. Under pressure, he crumbles like a fucking rock. He's not a good quarterback.
No, I was laughing the moment I found out. I said, holy shit, we've got a chance.
Like Paul, even Quinn Ewers at his worst is probably still better than Will Howard. Quinn Ewers at least throws a really good football. Will Howard just has
when he's not playing Georgia.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Will Howard has
or anybody for that
3 or 4 NFL. Their tight end probably is an NFL caliber tight end too. They play 3 or 4 wide receivers that are legit NFL receivers.
I personally am ready to move on from Quinn Ewers.
I heard he's staying though. I heard
he's transferring at the end of the season. He's withdrawing from the NFL.
We're in the playoffs. Why would you even announce that right now? That makes
because he's a moron.
Well, he knows that he's not going to win the starting job.
There's no way he knows.
Manning.
There's no way he thinks that he has the job over Manning next year.
And I bet you watch him transfer out to Texas A&M.
Bye.
No, I'm just saying so he can play Texas.
So he can pull his Zadarius Smith.
Schmitty.
Yeah. I got my revenge
twice.
What the fuck's wrong with that guy?
He's happy.
What other NFL teams clinched a playoff spot? The Detroit Lions this week.
I can pull it up for you right now. Who's got it?
He didn't do shit for us when he was at Green Bay.
No, he didn't. So eliminations are the New Jersey Packers, the New England Patriots, the Cleveland Browns, Jaguars, Titans, Raiders, and that is it. Everybody else is still
There's
alive in the
only
NFL.
4 clinch spots right now. You got Kansas
Detroit?
City and Buffalo that clinched
City,
their
Buffalo, yep.
division, I think. Yeah, they clinched their division, and then Detroit and Philly clinched the playoff berth.
Now, I heard a rumor that KC probably isn't going to lose another game. They play Cleveland, Houston, Pittsburgh, and Denver.
I think it's possible to.
Denver and Pittsburgh are both road games. That's the only one that's the only 2 games that I can see.
You don't think Jameis Winston can pull off some magic
next week? No, I don't.
In Cleveland?
I think unless it's a snowstorm.
So you're telling me they're going to end the season 16-1?
I hope they don't. Well, if they go 15-2, I think they go 15-2. I think they lose one of those games, whether it be Denver or Pittsburgh. More than likely, Denver might actually have their division locked up.
The toughest game the Bills have left is the Lions. Everybody else, they got Patriots, Jets, and Bills for their last 3 games after they play the Bills this week. The Lions this week. The Bills they could possibly beat the Bills and win out the rest of the season. And so that would be interesting to see how these last 4 games play out between KC and Buffalo to see who gets that top spot.
Yeah, Denver's got the 7th seed. They're 8-5. They got a game and a half or 2-game lead over the Colts for the 8th spot. So they're sitting pretty. Denver's sitting pretty.
This is interesting.
Man, that's crazy that the Commanders, they don't hold any tiebreakers. How is that possible? I suppose they didn't beat anybody that is even in playoff contention. There's Charles's scheduling thing going at it, saying that you don't have anything. If you don't have a scenario where you beat another team, it means that you didn't fucking beat anybody that's in playoff contention. And it's funny, there's a few of them up there that don't have anything. Like here's Green Bay. No, they don't have one either because
the fact that the Chicago Bears and Carolina haven't been eliminated, and Carolina is 3-10.
Chicago's in 14th position right now. They're only a game behind the Dallas Cowboys.
I don't fucking understand this math.
Here's the thing. Because San Francisco is 6-7, the Bears are 4-9, Falcons are 6-7, and the Rams are 7-6.
Yeah.
The Rams hold the last playoff position. The Rams, Falcons, Cardinals, and 49ers all take a shit. New Orleans somehow comes back to win their division over the Falcons by beating them at the end of the season.
Yeah.
Would knock them out. The Bears would have to win out. It's like you said, it's a 1% chance. It's not going to happen. But
it's definitely, if there's any Bears fans out there that honestly think we have a chance, I'm going to need you to go see a doctor.
Paul, you don't think they could beat Minnesota on the road, Detroit at home, Seattle at home, and then go to Green Bay and win?
No.
Make the playoffs?
We're not winning. What? I said after week 11, the way we lost to the Packers, we're not winning another game. And what have we done? Not won a game. We have literally lost 7 games in a row right now.
May not have won a few games, but you sure the fuck have lost a few games.
Did you see? You know the Bears have lost 7 one-score games this year.
We have lost way too many close games. Way too many.
On the loss part too, because they very well should have been wins.
19-13, 21-16.
There's only been one game that we got blown out, and that was Arizona.
30-27, 23-20. Yeah, but Charles brought this up plenty of times. A lot of this had to do with coaching, offensive coordinator. This is you as a team problem, not just a player problem.
Yeah. I don't know what they're thinking about bringing in this next season. At this point, I can give 2 flying fucks. I care.
Please don't tell me it's Lincoln fucking Riley, because I keep hearing this name swirl around for the Bears, and that just seems like the worst case scenario for me. I don't know about you, Charles.
The 4 names that I keep hearing is Lincoln Riley, Cliff Kingsbury, Mike Vrabel, and it was Bill Belichick at one point, but that clearly is probably not going to happen.
Kingsbury is not going anywhere. He's got the golden goose, and he would be the next. There's no way right now he's going anywhere.
What were the other names?
Vrabel, Kingsbury, and Lincoln Riley.
Vrabel would be the number one choice, obviously, for the Bears.
I can see them again going defensive-minded coach again because
We
that's
get
just
Lincoln
what they
Riley
do.
as the offensive coordinator, maybe.
Yeah, I doubt it. He's not going to leave USC to go over here.
You can have Chip Kelly.
I don't want that. Nobody wants that. His wife probably doesn't want him.
What about Mike Vrabel as your DC? No.
He's not. No, he wouldn't.
He's not gonna.
He wouldn't. He's not gonna do that because he
No.
knows he can get a head coaching job.
He was in Matt's wedding too. By the way, that's gonna be weird. He would take the head coaching job for sure. Hell, Vrabel would be a good one, but I don't think if you're gonna go defensive coordinator, you might as well stay in the division. And if you're gonna pay. If you're going defensive and you don't pay the money for Glenn, then what's the point?
Yeah.
If you're not going for the best, then you're not trying to be the best. Glenn's going to build a culture.
The dude turns water into wine in Detroit. And look what he did.
But will he jump ship is the question.
Yes. Absolutely, 100% for the money. He's
Head
going to
coaching money is
head
way
coaching
more.
money.
And here's the thing, too. I personally, if I'm a defensive coordinator or an offensive coordinator, playing for a guy who goes for it all the time probably isn't in my best interest.
No, we talked about this on the Packer podcast. Charles, we talked about Ben Johnson sitting over there and rolling his fucking eyes at the Detroit Lions play call. He can't sit there and not think to himself, what the fuck are you thinking? He has to.
And it's a money thing.
Yeah. You can't, you can't leave that money on the table.
And then this is the thing. The next head coach that comes into Chicago, just like last year, is coming into a situation that's pretty much set up. It's just, again, I still think the biggest holes in our team right now is still the offensive line. And you got to get somebody offensively, even if you go defensive-minded for your head coaching position, you have to hire somebody as an OC that can get the best out of Caleb Williams. That has to be priority. If that's not priority, then I just don't see how we're not going to get out this rut.
You know how it's not priority?
Because it's the Bears.
Here's the thing.
And that lady's still up there.
That lady.
And you're deciding to keep your
GM.
You're deciding to keep your GM. It makes no sense.
Especially after you fired the head coach that you hired. And you want me to let you pick another one?
12 games into a season, everyone told you shouldn't have kept him.
You should have fired him last year when the season was over.
So firing him 12 games into the season is an acknowledgement of failure.
Oh, man. Can I tell you something right now?
What's up?
Absolutely.
This is something I just looked up. This is disturbing. Aaron Glenn's not even in the top 15 paid defensive coordinators in the NFL.
Interesting.
So you want to hear top 5?
Sure.
I
think we all know number 1 is Vic Fangio from the Eagles, $4.5 million. Mike Zimmer, $4 million. Dallas. Steve Spagnuolo, 3.5. That's justified. He actually probably should be number 1. Todd Bowles for Buccaneers, 2.4. Aaron Durde, Seattle Seahawks, $2 million. And then Brian Flores rounds it out as 1.8, who probably deserves to be top 3. I think Charles and I are big time agreement on that one.
Yeah. Wait, Todd Bowles?
He's a head coach.
He's a head coach. So he gets head coach money and defensive coordinator money?
Yeah, apparently.
How does that work?
He could be he must be head coach and defensive coordinator.
He is.
Yeah, this is November 14th, 2024.
I guess it makes sense, but I would never think that you would.
Did he not hire a DC?
I would if I can get me an extra $4 million. What are you talking
wait
about?
a minute. I gotta look this up. I gotta look this up.
Hiring nobody. I'm gonna take that. And if I could, I'd take the OC too.
Right? There's
I
been
just
plenty.
Holy shit.
I just talked to myself in a room.
Hold on. Wait a minute. Pause. He doesn't have a defensive coordinator.
He is a defensive coordinator.
Defensive coordinator.
Wait a minute. Is that
Of course,
Yeah.
it's legal. He
You know who
calls
doesn't have an
plays.
offensive coordinator?
Matt LaFleur?
There's been plenty of teams that
Chicago.
fired their head coach as their defensive coordinator, offensive coordinator, and they've absorbed the duties. Matt LaFleur, technically, wasn't he calling the plays at one point when Rodgers was there? I believe that
I've
was.
just never
yeah.
seen it because I never really like.
It's
Yes,
common. It's common.
You know what I'm
You've seen
saying?
it. You've seen it.
Maybe I just never paid like close attention that
It's just not clicking yet. Both of you.
I know
Just waiting
Matt.
for the dots.
What's that?
This individual went from one team to the Chargers and is now with the Eagles.
Kellen Moore?
Yeah. Who did he leave?
I don't.
The
You're
Cowboys.
asking a question for other.
Mike McCarthy fired Kellen Moore and took over the offensive coordinator.
and then Jim
Oh, you're
Harbaugh.
talking about he was with Dallas?
Yeah.
Oh, no, he
Yeah,
was there
I
with
didn't even know
Garrett
he was with Dallas.
before Mike McCarthy. Though,
Yes,
right?
I'm just saying Mike McCarthy is also the offensive coordinator for Dallas, and there isn't another
What?
offensive coordinator
Oh
on
yeah,
that staff.
that's right. McCarthy was the Packers offensive coordinator and head coach.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hold
he always had
on.
this. He always had the sheet in front of him. Yep.
No.
Hold on.
Towards the end of Mike's career, he was in Green Bay. He was forced to get an offensive coordinator.
Yeah. Well, we all know why, but
Because he was out the door.
Yeah. Took a year off to grab analytics and then got hired in Dallas.
yeah.
Dealt with Kellen Moore for a couple of years, started to fluff his job, and then said, fuck it, I'm going to take over. He took over last year, and Dak Prescott had arguably
He has
an
an
MVP
offensive
season.
coordinator now. Brian
Well, that's
Schottenheim.
Jerry Jones told him you best get one because we don't trust you.
Yeah.
I gotta see this.
You're going down a rabbit hole because it's very common.
I guess I've never paid attention
Honestly,
to it.
there's probably 4 or 5 in the
mean,
NFL right now.
At one point, Bill Belichick was the GM, the head coach, and the defensive coordinator.
That
Yeah,
I
he was
remember.
everything.
That
dude's
and he
that dude's
sucked at
check was
drafting people.
that dude's check was north of 20 million.
Well,
Nobody
he's
ever really
he
did
won't be
know.
doing that in college, but it'd be fun. It'd be
All I'm
fun to
doing is
watch.
coaching. Yeah.
Yeah.
So picks: Mike's 9-2, Chuck's 9-2, Patrick 7-4, and Paul 7-4.
I won?
Yeah, rivalry week last week did what it was supposed to do. Everybody,
Spicy.
we all tied up now. So we'll have to get Mike. We'll have to send Mike a pick.
Yeah,
and
we
then
can agree to one.
Or
Or we'll still do rotating. Whoever picks for him, just still the same
yeah.
thing. One person picks his stuff, and then he'll do
Yeah,
his
no, I
homework.
just wanted to shut that out real quick. I didn't mean to pause the conversation.
We're
I mean,
above 500, everybody.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Everyone's
Suck
doing
on
really,
that,
really well.
Fox.
Like I said, collectively 18, 25, 32.
Oh, we'd be rich
4,
right
8,
now.
10.
Yeah,
We're
we
32 and 12. We're 32 and 12 in pick'ems collectively so far.
Last time
Not
I checked, that
legal
means
here,
we know
though.
ball. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
That's how I see it.
Adam Mike's Green Bay game was pretty much spot on, other than the fact that he lost. But he had it being a high scoring shootout, 30-29.
That game had me on the edge of my seat.
Atlanta, Minnesota, 13-24. So that was you, Paul. Well done. And then
Clearly,
Seattle.
they outscored that over. They went over.
Oh, wait a minute. My mind is wildly in the gutter. But anyways, Patrick, you are 8-3 now. I'm sorry. Because you won. You had Seattle versus Cardinals, and you picked Seattle to win 27-17.
Nice.
So that makes you
Still in last
8-4.
place, but I'm winning.
No, 8-3. I'm sorry, 8-3.
Yeah, but I'm still winning, so I'm okay.
Yeah. So well done. And then I had Kansas City Charger versus the Chargers. And I
That
had Kansas
almost
City
ended differently, real fast.
28-13.
It Paul, it happens.
That's the
If you
dark
listen to
magic.
anything I said other than the ending, I am very sorry.
Hey,
I'm
whatever.
very sorry.
They got
But-
dark magic up in Kansas City.
Sometimes you look at a math problem and you get the answer right, but your math was way wrong. And everyone's like, "You're a cheater," and I'm like, "Nah, I just do math differently.
Good at math.
I just do it differently. Everyone's born unique. Y'all out here trying to die the
Not
same."
I
unique.
like to
Shut
think
up.
we like to think of ourselves as like a bunch of eclectic creatures.
Yeah, yeah. I'm reminded constantly that I'm a peacock, and I'm just
I just want to
simply out
fly.
here flying.
I just want to fly.
Not that I just want to. I am. I'm just out here flying.
He said, "Test pop, it's a real thing, right?"
I really do. I've seen peacocks fly.
Just let me fly already.
I've seen them
Yeah.
fly.
I have
Or
not.
maybe they're falling gracefully. I don't know, but I've seen it.
Something's happening. Just let me be a peacock and fly.
Oh, anyways, yeah. So here's something. Listen, before we get to some pickups.
Yes.
So we're getting closer to the draft. So I would like to go over the top 10. And I would like us to discuss some woulda, coulda, shouldas. Coming in at number 10, the Bengals. Coming in at number 9, surprise, the Bears. Coming in at
Not
number 8, the Browns. Coming in at number 7, the Jets. Coming in at number 6, the Titans. 5, Jaguars. 4, Panthers. 3, Patriots. 2, Giants. 1, the Raiders. Okay, so there was a conversation going on, and you guys were killing it. So I was looking into this draft, and I realized this player-wise, on paper, might not be an explosive draft. But I think what we will find is an intense trade war from 10 to 1 because of needs and people where they are and where they are not. For example, you have the Raiders and the Giants. Who's taking Shedeur Sanders?
Raiders.
Or,
If they're the number one spot.
right. Or
If the Giants are the number one spot, then it's the Giants.
let's just, it is how it is right now. We're doing woulda, coulda, shouldas. How do the Giants get to the Raiders? Or how does Shedeur get to the Giants? Does Deion not let his kid go to the Raiders?
That's the only way that
Want him
happens.
to go to the Raiders, though. I hear.
I'm not sure. If he does, then it's a cush deal.
think it's-
Maybe him
I
and
think
Mark
it's gonna be-
Davis have a great relationship.
How do you,
Tom Brady.
It's gonna take. It'll take a miracle for him to not probably go to the Raiders. So
If the Raiders have the number one pick, Shedeur Sanders is going
right,
to the
and I
Raiders.
don't believe that the Raiders are going to give up their draft pick. The only way they can is if the Raiders somehow fuck up and win a game. That's realistically how it's
Giants
probably
aren't
going to
winning
roll.
a game.
No,
Giants are
They're
not
gonna-
winning a game. They've got teams like Baltimore and pretty much the rest of their division. I think.
but I could see the Raiders
somehow
winning
winning
a
a
game.
game.
So
So
they already beat Baltimore once.
This week they have they have the Falcons at home.
Kirk Cousins had
Possible win.
a touchdown in 3 straight games.
Cousins could throw 2 pick sixes and they could lose the game.
He's thrown 0 touchdowns and an interception in 3
They're-
straight games.
Here's the thing: they're playing the Raiders and they're only 5-point favorites.
Okay, and who do the Raiders have next?
Let's look at
There's only 4 games left.
We got Jacksonville, New Orleans, and then the Chargers.
They can win 2 out of those 4 games.
They could win 2 out of those 4. Could. Yeah.
Which would slide Jacksonville up, the Giants up.
The
I don't think the
Giants have
Patriots-
Baltimore, Atlanta, Indianapolis, and the Eagles. Yeah. I'm not buying any of that.
What about the Patriots? This is big right now. Because I think, dude,
Okay.
arguably, I think
Cardinals?
the Raiders
Ooh,
the Raiders could end up
it
dropping
might be
it.
the Patriots. Patriots have Buffalo twice, the Cardinals, and the Chargers.
okay, and then you've got Carolina, who they've been playing really good ball. They're
Carolina
looking-
seems like they're trying to win, so
They're
they
trying
might
to
be the
win.
least.
So they
Probably the
play the
least likely
Cowboys this week. Then they play the Cardinals.
I can see them beating the Cowboys this week.
Yeah,
You
they
got
play
Arizona, Tampa
Buccaneers.
Bay, Atlanta.
So that one's going to be tough. And then Atlanta. So they'll probably lose their last 2. Yeah, but
Yeah.
I think the Raiders could end up in 5th.
Yeah, it's
And
possible.
then that's how Shedeur ends up in New York.
And then that's how Shedeur ends up in New York.
Every mock I've
Because
seen has him going to New York.
That's
unless the only way he doesn't, even with New York with the first pick, the only way he doesn't end up there is if he pulls the Eli.
But Eli pulled an Eli from a team like San Diego to go to the Giants.
Yeah.
But
the Giants weren't anything special.
They're not anything special now.
That's what I'm saying. The Giants, locationally, for the
I get
brand,
you. I get you.
Or
it
Vegas
speaks for itself.
For the brand, I think
New York would be New York is a great way to expand yourself for sure.
Because if we're just playing like shoots and ladders on a 5 scale, right? Because I think unless the Raiders tank, New York's not winning a game, Patriots aren't winning a game, Panthers might win a game, Jacksonville might win a game.
Yeah.
But they're going to 4th or 5th place at that point. So they'll have New York, Patriots, or you'll have Patriots and Jacksonville ahead of you. Those teams aren't getting a quarterback.
No.
The Patriots, like Drake May, is playing well.
Yeah.
He learned. He came in at a halfway point. Patriots are right where they need to be. They're probably going to be taking the first or second offensive lineman off the board, if we're being honest.
Oh yeah, they need help for sure.
Absolutely. So now this is where it led me, right? This is where I wanted to get us real quick. And it wasn't quick, but it didn't matter. Carolina has this 3rd pick now in this scenario, with the Patriots having the 2nd pick and the Giants having the 1st pick.
I hear you.
So does Carolina take a quarterback with Bryce Young playing like he is now?
If he keeps playing the way that he's playing, win or lose, right? Regardless, I think you trade it away. I think you take the chance on Bryce now at this point because he's starting to show.
Trade it away. You get an offensive lineman.
I think whatever the head coach did to get into his head, whatever reverse psychology, whatever the fuck he did.
I think it was
his mental space is completely different than it was at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, he got benched, and I think he had time to reflect.
And not just that, that 2-game win streak that he had, regardless if it was just Jacksonville, whatever the case is,
I don't care.
Winning is winning. And
winning
something unlocked in that man's brain, and he's playing different. So now if you get him protection and you get him weapons, what does next year look like? And now that you have the 3rd overall pick, you use that as leverage to trade either for more capital or get something to help Bryce Young on that line.
Because Jacksonville isn't going to take a quarterback either.
No.
Oh, God, no.
So if you're the Raiders and you end up falling behind Carolina and Jacksonville,
let's
the only way that I would keep
world's worst scenario for you.
Let's be honest. Regardless of who the first 2 teams are in the draft, it's Shedeur and Travis Hunter, correct? And then Cam.
Jacksonville would be dumb not to try.
I don't believe
Travis
Hunter. If you're the Patriots or Jacksonville, or Carolina, you have to get Travis Hunter.
I think if Travis Hunter drops,
it doesn't. That's
a
not
no-brainer.
Necessarily. I just mean those 2 have to be the first 2. Those 3 players probably Cam Ward. Those are the first 3 players probably.
It's 1, 2, 3. It's just depending on how the draft order.
Yeah,
depending on the order, depends on how they get picked.
Man, Cam Ward for the Raiders.
That seems like a good fit.
That's like a good fit. That seems like but there's something. There was one other little creeping little knick-knack paddywhack that came into the Jets.
They're gonna fuck it up.
We don't plan on them winning very many games here moving forward. Right?
Not at the pace they're going.
No. They might not win another game.
They're screwed.
All right, I'm going to go through it, guys.
They could be, yes, please do, because they could be on this ladder because they're picking 7th right now.
They are 3-10. The only reason they're not up there more is because I believe they beat New England and Tennessee. So
they might win 2 out of the next 4 games.
Jacksonville, the Rams, Buffalo, and Miami. No, I don't think so. Miami's still fighting for a playoff spot.
I picked the wrong team.
The Rams are still going to be fighting for a playoff spot. Jacksonville it's at Jacksonville. They might still be trying at this point.
But it depends on if Trevor Lawrence is there or not.
So the
Yeah,
Jets
that's
and
true.
Jaguars, when they play next week, they're just playing to see who's going to get the higher draft pick at this point.
Yeah, basically.
Somebody has to win.
Yeah.
But with the Rams, that's a
bare knuckle
loss.
fight.
The Bills, that's a loss. Especially if the Bills are still playing for that first seed, that's a loss. Miami, if
Yeah.
they're still playing for a wild card, that's a loss.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
At Miami, I think that one is.
it's in New York. It's in Rutherford. It's in New Jersey.
Ooh,
I don't give a shit.
I do. They are 0-11 in games under 40 degrees.
They're definitely not
Yeah,
beating the Rams.
Miami.
So
Yeah.
can the Rams beat the Jets in New Jersey though?
Oh no, I'm talking about Miami.
I know that. I'm just
Miami.
saying because they're 2-2. They got 2 away, 2 home. It's offset off. Home away. They got away home.
Okay.
So both of their away games are in Buffalo and in Jacksonville, and their home games are against the Rams and the Dolphins.
Yeah, I think they lose to the Rams, but
Yeah.
they could beat the Dolphins just because of the weather thing.
But they're definitely not beating Buffalo if they're still playing for a.
They're not beating Buffalo.
No. So they could possibly move up to maybe top 5, top 3, depending on how everything else plays out. And the Jets can fuck up everything. They could draft Cam Ward to the Jets. That would fuck up everything.
They do need a backup quarterback.
They would fuck up everything.
So that's
But no, hold. Let me pull something up real quick. Hold on.
Yeah.
Everybody calm down.
This is when I was starting to look at the top 10.
I'm going down a rabbit hole thanks to Charles.
I said, oh my God, dude, this could be some of the craziest movement we've ever seen in a draft.
There's so many teams within one game of each other. It's ridiculous.
Within one game of each other. And then you look at a team, the Jets, who are desperate for life. You don't think they won't sell the farm
Wait
to
a minute,
go up and
pause.
get him or Shador Sanders?
Hear me out.
They will for sure.
Even if the Jets,
What do you
now let's just play the scenario out with me, okay? Jets technically don't need to draft a quarterback.
Yeah.
Because
this
last year, they drafted Jordan Travis from Florida State.
Oh, yeah.
And he could be fully healthy going into this next year to replace Aaron Rodgers.
And they're just going to ruin that kid and then go draft another one. Yeah.
So I'm just saying, in theory, they don't need to draft the quarterback, but they could, if they end up with the 1 or the second, let's just say, hypothetically, they end up with one of the top 2 picks, they could fuck up everything. Everybody's draft board can get jacked up.
I don't know if it would really jack up the draft board. It would piss
But
people
how
off.
fucking crazy would it be that both New Jersey teams go get Shador Sanders and Travis Hunter, and they're both in New York? Do you imagine the publicity that city would get just based off of their team?
I think those two. I think they would love it. The two of them.
I'm not saying that they would, but it's like you got both teams in New
Gardner
Jersey
on one side and Travis Hunter on the other side.
And imagine if he plays both sides for the first year or two, and he's able to pick off Shador.
Yeah, even if you get a 60% split, but you're 80%.
Like do you imagine that game on prime time? 2 of the sorriest teams, but you got Shador on one side and Travis Hunter on the other side.
Yeah.
Do you realize the eyeballs that would be on that game?
Oh yeah, no, well, absolutely. The same type of atmosphere. It's a great point out. Same type of atmosphere that we got with Jaden and Caleb.
Like it would be insane.
Yeah.
The fact that you just opened this fucking Pandora's box of just there's so many scenarios that could just be.
Just wait.
You still have the Bengals and Bears on that list.
And this is the crazy thing. We still got 4 games. The draft order that's right now is not even close to being locked because it can change. Every week it can change.
We're going to have our mock draft right at the end of the season.
Every week, the top 10 pick is going to change every week for the next 4 weeks.
The closer you get to the end of the season, the last 2 weeks of the season, I believe like 5 of these teams you're talking about are all going to be playing each other.
And it could change up till week 18.
So you've got the Bengals who are definitely going to lose a couple more. You got the Bears who are going to lose a few
the Patriots,
more.
The Jets,
the Raiders,
the Jaguars, the Raiders,
the Giants.
Everybody's losing.
Everybody in the top 10, it's going to shift at some point, whether it's higher or lower.
Who ends up playing each other and bounces one of the other ones out?
Just this week alone, between the Jaguars and the Jets, that's going to determine who's going to move up and who's moving down.
There might not be. This might be one of the only seasons where you're only going to be like division winner, and then the Packers are they'll have 3 teams in the NFC North. They want to anybody but a divisional winner from the rest of the league, and then the rest of them will be all 2-3-4 wins. It's going to be crazy. That's how bad the NFL, the parity is insane this year.
This NFL draft is
Well,
about to
well,
be
I
sick.
mean, you could see that. Oh no, because you've got Pittsburgh and Baltimore.
In a
moving
typical
well.
season, in a typical NFL season, you have a lot of like 6 and 10 teams. I don't even know if we're going to get maybe more than a handful of them. Like,
Yeah, no, we might. I'm thinking, 3 and 13. We might get more 3 and 13 teams, 6 and 10.
we're gonna have more 3, 4, and 5 win teams than we've probably ever had.
Yeah,
You know,
it's going to be so awesome. But look at some of these teams too. All right, hold on now. The Patriots aren't going to be bad next year.
no, they'll be better. Obviously, the Browns will be better. I think they're no,
Sorry.
you're laughing, but I think they're gonna end up having to walk
They do.
away from this Deshaun
Yeah.
Watson thing. But they're gonna walk away from it as he's gonna medically retire from the NFL.
The Bengals are going to be better.
Yeah,
You
the
would hope.
Bengals know what they have and they know what they need to fix. But it's just it's a financial fuck up for them that they can't
I mean,
afford to do it.
The Bears on paper should be more 19-23 than 9-12 where they are right now.
The
right?
Bears, let's all be honest. The Bears should probably have, like you said, they could have either 7 or 8 wins right now, or they could have fucking none.
And if the Panthers get a couple more pieces correct in that draft, we don't expect the Panthers to be in the top 10 next year.
No.
Wild to say that after the beginning of the year.
And
I
being in the
would've seen it.
NFC South, it plays well in their favor if they're able to draft correctly and sign whatever pieces they need in
I'm
the
not gonna
offseason.
Yeah. I don't think they'll be fighting for a playoff spot next year, but they'll definitely be knocking on the door.
They'll be more in the 13-20 than 12-1.
They're gonna be
Yeah.
they're gonna be 7-8 wins.
They'll definitely be moving in the right direction depending on how they draft this offseason.
Now, teams we expect to continue to be terrible: the Raiders,
Giants,
the Giants,
probably.
the Jets, Tennessee.
I don't
Okay,
see
so the big
see the Jaguars getting any better
Jaguars,
either.
I was just going to say, do we see the Jaguars getting
And they
better?
probably might be firing Peterson at the end of the season anyway. So they'll be looking for a new head coach in this whole scenario. So it's like
If
it's
Ben
gonna
Johnson goes down to the Jaguars.
that would be good for Trevor Lawrence.
This
and
is why
that
they paid. This is why they paid that dude the money. Yeah, and now
Like,
they're going to go.
If Trevor Lawrence if the Jaguars can find a way to pair up Ben Johnson and Trevor Lawrence, that would be interesting to see how that works and what he could do with Trevor Lawrence. Because again, regardless of how you feel about Jared Goff, he's having a good season statistically. He's not having, but he's having a good quarterback season. So if he could do that with Goff, I can assume he could do the same thing with Trevor Lawrence and wake whatever fucking fire you need to light under his ass for almost paying him $260 million.
There's a huge discrepancy in the offensive line talent, though, in Detroit than there is over there.
I got you.
Detroit has the best offensive line in the NFL, like as far as like on paper, and even if you just look at it, nobody gets pressure. Nobody gets pressure on Goff like right off the bat. They eventually get pressure, but you got Penny Sewell, you got a couple other guys in there. It's just stacked.
The way Penny Sewell motivates that line and that offensive line every pregame, I'm like, sign me up. I'll run through a wall for you, my guy. And he's only been in the league, what, like 3-4 years?
Yeah.
We put a lot of weight on the offensive line and defensive line, righteously. But when's the last time we seen the best versus the best in a Super Bowl?
Like the one versus the one?
More or less.
There was a Pittsburgh versus not too long ago.
I'm like, you had when Seattle played Denver, the number one offense.
Seattle played
Denver,
yeah. Defense won that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think it's happened that many times to say
No,
these are the top two teams.
Didn't KC have the number one offense and defense last year? Or no, maybe it was scoring defense. No, it wasn't. I'm wrong. No, I'm wrong. They didn't have the best offense. They might have had the best scoring defense though.
No, they won. Yeah, they won their Super Bowl last year because of their defense. And a magical play at the end. I think it's going to be interesting as dog piss in the middle of a Fairbanks winter.
Yeah.
So let's get to some pick'ems. Okay, Patrick, you are now chasing moi.
Yeah.
You're 8 and
Chase,
3.
Chase,
I'm 9
Chase,
and
Chase.
2. So Patrick, you'll pick for me. I'll pick for Mike. And then no, I'll pick for Paul, and then Paul can pick for Mike.
Okay.
So that's how we'll do it. So first on the docket, Patrick, you have moi.
Oh, you're getting a Thursday night game right off the bat. This is a good one. Got the Rams,
The Rams,
49ers, 2.5-point dogs.
A lot of implication in
A
this
lot
game.
at play. A lot at play. You got to have something to play for in this. You got to have something to play for.
A lot of implications in this game.
I think because of the Bears playing the 49ers playing the Bears, that I believe this game is a little inflated. I think what the Rams did against Buffalo is more impressive than what the San Francisco did against the Bears.
Oh yeah, you beat a healthy Bills team and you ran the ball down.
But you also let the Bills do whatever they wanted to you as well.
But the Bills have done that to everybody all season except
We're
for
just
one
focusing on the W right now.
team.
We're
Yeah, the dub.
A win's a win. Win's a win.
Just-
Win's a win.
Absolutely. Keep those details. I'm just focusing on the W. Now, the previous week, the 49ers, regardless of the weather, got the ass smacked by the Bills.
Yeah.
30-some points. Bills didn't seem to have a problem scoring in that weather, but the 49ers did. Now, the Rams, on that same defense, was able to score. So I think this bodes well for the Rams.
In abundance.
I like the Rams in this one. I do. And I'm very quick on it, actually. So I don't know if that bodes well for me. But I do. I haven't looked at the numbers or anything. So I'm going to give you mine, and then we can pull the numbers up. If somebody already has them, you can read them. I'm going to go Rams 35, 49ers 23. I like the Rams in this one, which gives me an over-under of 58.
Over-under total is 49.5, and the spread is San Francisco by 2.5. So it's a pick 'em. It's a pick 'em. This game is not going to be. This game probably will not be close. It's either going to be a blowout by the Rams, or it's going to be the 49ers will probably win by 10. But I don't see that happening. I also probably had the Rams. I would say more around the 6-point range, but you're very confident in them blowing them out. The 49ers, at some point, if they lose this game, I believe they're all but dead in the water. So
I'm like, because they're 6 and 7, so they need this game to stay alive in the division.
Yeah, even they're not making the playoffs if they lose this
No,
game.
the Rams are the closest to the Packers in the playoff sense. The Rams have to win out, period, because the Packers play at bare minimum. Let's just say terrible things happen.
The only
We play
thing
the
that
Bears the season.
the only thing those teams in the West are playing for is the division. They can't even play for a playoff.
And this is the thing. So 3 out of their last 4 games for the Rams, 3 out of the last 4 games are division games. They got the Niners this week, tomorrow. Next week are the Jets, but then they end the season in both at home, but they play against the Cardinals and the Seahawks, their last 2 home games.
Yeah.
Which again, all these 3 last division games for LA are basically trying to make it into the playoffs. Basically, everybody in the NFC West is just playing just to make it. Because right now, in the NFC West, you got them at 8-5 Seahawks, 7-6 Rams, 6-7 Niners and Cardinals. So it's still way up for grabs, the NFC West.
And here's the kicker, Paul. The Green Bay Packers play the Seattle Seahawks, and they can knock them down a peg, and that bodes well for the Rams to catch them. The Rams would go to 8-6. Seahawks would be 8-6. 49ers would be all but left for dead. The Arizona Cardinals, if they do win, they'd be 7-7. I guess they technically would still be in it, but it'd be down to the Seahawks and the Rams.
It's like they say in the red zone, we're down to the witching hour.
Yeah, it's getting there.
Talking about witching hour, Paul.
Yes, sir.
I have picked the Dolphins versus Texans.
Interesting. Dolphins, Texans. Dolphins, Texans. And they're playing in Houston. 3 points favorites. Over unders 47. They got a lot of questionables. They're both underwhelmingly playing this year. CJ is definitely having a sophomore slump for sure. Tua still scares me because it just one hit away from throwing gang signs again. Hey, I just got one thing to tell you, Charles.
It was the easiest of the 3 I had picked.
Give me 1 second.
Yeah.
All right, parent duties.
Yeah.
This game is very... I feel like CJ has the game in him, but I think... Oh, man. What does my gut say? My gut say Miami's going to pull an upset. I think Miami is going to pull the upset, so I'm picking Miami. I'm going to say... Let's say 27-20. Miami.
Ooh. All right.
I'm picking for Mike, right?
Yeah.
Who's picking for Patrick?
No, you're picking for Patrick.
And then Patrick.
And then depending on what we'll pick.
Okay. All right.
We'll pick for Mike. I figured it made it easier.
I got you.
If the people on the show just picked for each other.
That's a valid point. I'm going to give you... I'm gonna give you a shitty pick.
There's some games that are shitty games.
I'm about to give you a shitty pick.
Yeah,
the Cowboys and the Panthers.
I just looked at that game. I was like, that's what I was talking about. There's some shitty games and they're really close.
I'm gonna give you the Panthers and the Cowboys.
I cannot. The only reason this game is close is because of the way that Bryce Young has played over the last 3-4 weeks.
Yes, and how shitty the Cowboys have been playing.
And how shitty the Cowboys are. The only benefit the Cowboys have is that they are good. They got 4 of their 5 wins this year on the road.
And Cooper Rush isn't the worst quarterback.
No, he's not. But I would prefer that they probably had Dak still, and I would give him a little bit of a nod on this one. But to be honest with you, I think the Dallas Cowboys might be tanking for this. They got no shot at the playoffs.
Tell them that.
They might just lay down. The Carolina Panthers freaking roll over them and get to that 4th win. I think Carolina. Yeah,
gonna cry his ass off.
Offensively, this is terrible. This is a terrible game offensively.
53 degrees, and it's going to be pouring fucking rain. Yeah, 2.5 Carolina Panthers. I think Bryce Young and them are going to pull this one off. I think they're going to win this one 24-21. They'll kick a field goal at the end and win it.
Nice.
All right. You guys did this to Mike, just so you guys are aware.
What did we pick?
Buffalo versus Detroit.
I'm like, that's fine with me.
I was
fine with that.
I was going to give it to you, but then I'm like, no, I'm going to leave it and see because he's chasing Patrick. So I'm going to leave that in the pot.
It's a close game. It's a close game. It's pick 'em.
Yeah. Both of them.
Man, I'm surprised this is that the Lions are favored.
Yeah.
Not by much.
Yeah, but that's the same line they were against the Packers is 2.5.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting to see because and they're playing in Detroit. We're going to see what that looks like. And how that's not a primetime game, I don't see how that. What's the Sunday night game? Y'all have the Sunday night game.
It's the
against
reason
Seahawks.
they didn't flex it is because it's a CBS game and it's an interconference,
I got you.
interdivisional or whatever you want to call it.
That Monday night game is going to suck.
What is it? The
Falcons and Raiders.
What are you talking about? There's 2 Monday night games, Bears Vikings.
Oh, that's going to be even worse.
You forget
Actually,
your own teams playing on Monday.
I get numb to my.
When you
my
said
team.
that Monday night game is going to suck, I immediately thought you were talking about the Bears Vikings game.
I might not even watch that game.
And he tells you
just
the
'cause
Falcons Raiders game. They
both
both
of
are
those games suck. Who's the genius that keeps putting 2 games on Monday night?
It's an old couple that fucking handwrite this shit.
Like, what genius is
Maybe
this?
that's the baseball schedule. I can't remember.
It's going to be an interesting weekend.
I think that's gonna. Yeah. Oh yeah. I can't wait. Alrighty, fellers. You got anything else you wanted to add?
No, I think we covered it all today. We really went deep on college football and the NFL, and we really went deep on possible draft picks. Holy shit!
That rabbit hole.
I told you the moment I looked at it, I went, "Holy shit!" And there's a lot of potential trade. There's a lot of potential power in that.
Because
It's gonna be
again,
super
Jacksonville,
exciting.
they
Look
don't
at.
really need any outside of me. I'm like, do they even? I guess you could get Travis Hunter, but if you choose not to go to the Travis Hunter route, you could trade that and get capital. Jacksonville has a lot of options of what they can do with this if they get the 2nd overall draft pick or even the 1st overall, because you don't need a quarterback.
Patriots also.
So
Yeah.
it's like there's so many scenarios that could play out come April, depending on what order it's in. And that's going to be interesting to see what that looks like come April.
Alrighty. All our thoughts and prayers are with one of our co-hosts here while he's going through some life turbulence.
Yeah, man.
We care deeply for you, my friend, our brother, and we're praying that your path becomes unfoggy and your pain is eased as time goes on. We're definitely here for you.
Yeah.
As we are for all of our listeners as well. Holiday seasons are coming up. Loved ones lost, loved ones gained. There's always a lot going on. So it's easy to become self-centered in a moment where you can mistake ignorance or anger for ignorance.
Yeah.
A lot can be going on and somebody could just be in their own head, and maybe you just brushing off that moment, smiling and saying, I hope your day gets better, is all that situation needs. So here at the show, we super care about you. The world is definitely a better place with you in it, and we love you more.
She lost back in the child, cause the mind all rest of the blind. Yeah, go now, bad in your life. In school, I see the bag. The beast that bring your eye. Had a boy with a light skin in the style.